Okay, let me change it to speaker view here. All right, very good. Okay, welcome everybody. My name is David Silverman. I am calling in from, or zooming in from, Delray Beach, Florida. My home most of the year is in Maryland, in Bethesda, Maryland, and we're just down here for I don't even know how long we're down here for. However long it is, it's nice, it's warm. And we have this webinar every Wednesday at three different times. This is the third and final time of today. We do it at 8 in the morning Eastern, 1 p.m. Eastern, and 9 p.m. Eastern. That hits the evening in different continents. What we're going to talk about here is when we say it's a breakthrough for humanity, it literally is. This is not a drug. This is not just a nutritional product. The company has incredible nutritional products. We're going to talk about the literal patented breakthrough that they have. And the fact is, when we do it in the morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, it's 9 o'clock in Hong Kong, Manila. When we do it at 1 in the afternoon in Maryland, the East Coast, it's 7 p.m. in Europe. And people are people. Every one of us on this planet is basically the same genetically. You know, we're all made up of cells and we're all getting older. That's the two major facts that are relative to what we're talking about. All made up of cells, we're all getting older. Liver is made up of liver cells, your brain is made up of brain cells, bone cells. And it's our task tonight to help whoever introduced this breakthrough to you, and this is the drink version, Asea. This is the topical version, Renew 28. We're here to assist the person who introduced it to you in trying to explain something that is so massive that it's difficult to. Fact is, it's as safe as water and it works, and it's just easy to just get benefits. But some people come to these presentations because they want to know more about the product to make a decision if they're going to use it. Some come because they've already seen it work and they want to understand more. Some people have seen it work and they're coming because there's an opportunity created by this. Because most people fit the categories I'm going to mention here, and not saying you do, you probably fit one or the other. Is most people are either struggling or settling in life. Either struggling financially, settling financially, or settling with not enough time freedom or not enough satisfaction, not enough meaning, not making enough difference. Something here for everybody. We're here to assist in that. Yeah, my name is David Silverman. My background is podiatry and foot surgery. I've sold my practice now. I own my own practice in my own ambulatory surgery center in Maryland. I was board certified in foot surgery, foot orthopedics, primary podiatric medicine. I don't do that anymore. What I do now is what I just said. I make people aware, anybody that listens, make them aware of this breakthrough. And I do my best to help other people get the people they're introducing it to, their questions answered. I'm on the medical professionals board of the company, Asea. I don't work for the company. I'm an independent associate. I started with this 8 years ago with my friend Debbie, who I'm going to introduce in just a moment. Debbie Wetzler brought this to me, and the first thing she said to me, she's been a dear friend for years, she said, "I love you. I have something really important to tell you." And it took me back a little bit, and that's where it started for me. And I had nothing wrong with me. I was 50. I'm 58 now. I was 50 then. But she told me what happened with her mother's joint problems. She told me she's not using a walker anymore. She told me about her breathing problem, and she's not using an oxygen tank anymore. She showed me her skin problem was basically all better. And I thought, well, what one thing could do all that? What one thing could do all that? And it almost sounded too good to be true. And if I had just gone to Google and Googled, I would have seen amazing things. If you go, you'll see amazing things. Then you'll see some people saying it's just salt water, because on the back of the bottle, that actually says the ingredients are salt and water. That's what the ingredients are, but that's not what it is, because if you look closer, there's something called bioagilytics on the back. It says it's redox certified. And bioagilytics is a company that pharmaceutical companies are required to send their products to, their drugs, to verify. It's an independent lab to verify that what the drug company says is in the drug is indeed in the drug. Well, if you look at this bottle, it is not a drug. It's a cell-signaling supplement. It's not a supplement. Asea is not required to send their products to bioagilytics. They do it anyway because they want third-party validation that it's redox signaling molecules and it's not salt water. So if I believe the negative things on Google, Debbie didn't know my dad had a grave prostate issue, and she brought it to me. Everybody's got something going on in their life. They either don't sleep well, they've got eye problems, breathing problems, allergy problems, weight problems, libido problems. Their parents are older. They're losing their memory. They have a child that's like not in mainstream school because of cognitive problems, skin problems. Everybody's got something. Now, I will tell you that if you are starting to share this with people, please don't just look for sick people. Share it with people you know who are sick, but share it with people who look like they're healthy as a horse. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You don't know who's taking Prozac every day. You have no idea whose father is ill. She didn't know my father had this prostate issue and the type of issue that people can get in their breast or their lung or their pancreas. And everybody goes into panic mode. She had no idea that was going on, but she brought it to me. And that was my initial reason for looking at this. I didn't look at it for any other reason at that point. Is there a business here? Darn right there is. This company was going to sell the technology and the patents to a pharmaceutical company. So they found out the pharmaceutical company said, here's the 8-figure check, but you need to shut down. The people you have on the product, they can finish what they have, but that's it. And they had to decide, take an 8-figure offer, which was originally a business play to do this thing, and let people just go about their, whatever the issues they have, let them continue with them or die from them, or say no and find another way to get this to the world, because the pharmaceutical company probably would have buried it. This is a disruptive innovation, and I can't stress that enough. There is nothing like this at all. This is a literal breakthrough, and they decided not to sell it, and it became an opportunity then, because we get paid for telling people about this, and the company spends no money on advertising. So I'm going to share just a couple of slides, and you might want to get your camera out, take a picture of one of the slides, because it's going to give you some good information. There's Vertus Norton. He's the one that said no to the pharmaceutical buyout. If you go to amazingmolecules.com, you see at the bottom here, play the Genesis video. It's 16 minutes. It is well worth the 16 minutes. If you doubt anything that's in there at all, do a little searching yourself on Google, realizing that Google is a search engine. It's not a research engine. Don't research health products on Google. We're going to show you a way where you'll know within 10 minutes that this is very, very real. But you can research the people that write negative things online. Google is the public bathroom wall of our time. People can write whatever they want on there. It's not policed. You talk to a friend that had depression and they're taking some root from a tree. And you look online and you see these amazing things, and you see Dr. So-and-so at this site at NYU or some hospital saying, oh, this is a waste of money or whatever it is. The public has no idea that Dr. So-and-so has a tie to a pharmaceutical company that is basically paid to say negative things. So when you see a site, if it says, hey, this is expensive water, Google search the people that are writing it. Then go to the homepage and say, well, if they bash Asea, what do they say about acupuncture? They bash it. Chiropractic, they bash it. Public has no idea that it's a bathroom wall in a stadium is what it is, or in a bar. So do your own due diligence on this, and do it for someone that you love. And that's what that video I shot at the top of, for someoneyouLove.com. So this is my family. That's my father right there. And thank God Vertus Norton said no to the pharmaceutical buyout. And this is spreading around the world, one person at a time. And we hand the gift off to people. You have to accept it. If you accept it and all you do is enjoy the health benefits and anti-aging benefits of it, great. We're hoping that you'll pay it forward with us. You'll do it out of the goodness of your heart because you'll feel compelled to, or you can get involved with the business and be rewarded for doing it. Be rewarded very, very, very well. So this is a breakthrough. Just because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean it's not happening with or without you. This is an article from the Huffington Post 2.5 years ago. 5 emerging technologies in science that will shape our lives in the coming years. Here are 5 of the craziest game-changing technologies that are starting to take off in 2016. So for the entrepreneurial people, that's important. The health-related people, it's just about health. It's really not, but for entrepreneurs, it is, because you'll see the numbers in just a little while. Pay attention, it says. Some of these will shape our lives in the coming years. I did not know what 1, 2, 3, and 5 were, but they're fascinating. You go look it up, it's really amazing stuff. But I did know what number 4 was. Because in June of 16, my dad had been on the products at the very beginning of 11, and I got on the product at the end of 11. That's when I looked at the business, almost a year after my dad got on the product. This is the page you might want to take a picture of, and let me just explain this. We're not going to be able to answer all your questions. We're going to answer a lot in the presentation, and we're going to do Q&A afterwards. But these sites, you may think of something later, like, oh, God, I wonder if it works on animals. So go to the animal site down there. You say, well, why Olympic gold medalists are on this product? My son is trying out for the Olympics, or he plays, college football. There's an Olympic, there is an athletic benefit of this product that's incredible. We're not going to focus on it tonight. But these are resources. You want to see something amazing? The third from the bottom, it says brain and trauma issues. And it's a YouTube site. Just, it's not an URL, it's not a domain name. Just write that down or take the picture and go to that. It's 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes. Please watch that. It's a young woman who was hit by a drunk driver. And I think everybody ought to see this. It is powerful. If you are going to try to explain this to people, how this product works, you're going to have a tough time if you don't understand it. Plus, the best thing is just play a video. At the top, the second one says, how does it do all of that? How could it possibly do all of that? And what's that? You look at the very bottom one. It says, what are people saying? redoxexperiences.com. Go there, put in the password associate with a capital A, and you can look up anything. And you'll think, how can it do all of that? Then go to that one. It says whyitspossible.com. Okay, so this is a really good resource page for you. Again, there's 6 reasons why people take the time to really look into this and to try the product, and not use Google as a research engine. Just do it to do a little bit of searching. But bottom line is, this product is as safe as water, which we'll talk about. Comes with a money-back guarantee. So if your knee hurts, try it. If you don't sleep well, try it. If you wheeze, try it. If you have little things floating across your eyes, try it. It can't hurt you in any way. If you don't try it now, it's okay. Some things just sound too good to be true to some people, no matter how safe it is or that it comes with a money-back guarantee. Some people are swayed by negativity, and that's okay. One day you'll be on this product, and at least you're here knowing about it now, and we hope that you ask your questions. 6 major drivers that people take the time to look at this is, and it might be you're coming to see if it can help you with a health issue that you have. Like I say, it could be anything. Could be you don't sleep well. Could be a bad mood. You have a low mood. Could be anything. Second reason was my reason. My father had a prostate issue. You may have a son or a daughter with something, or a mother or a father or a spouse, or brother or sister, wondering, gee, they have this health issue where their body's attacking themselves, their nerves aren't working. Whatever it is, right? That's okay. That could be your reason for looking initially. Number 3 is the fun reason, anti-aging benefits. This product is proven, the topical version of it is proven to reduce wrinkles and increase skin elasticity, decrease cellulite. And while those are not grave diseases and they're not going to kill anybody or make anybody miserable, nobody wants to look older. And there's a lot of money in that, right? And so, my wife and I are 58. I like that she uses it. She likes that I use it. But it's not, as a doctor, it's not my motivator to do this. And it wasn't my initial motivator. But if it is yours, it's fine, because you'll get the rest of it later. You see your wrinkles get better. You're like, wow, that's amazing. And then you take the gel and you try it on your neck that's sore. And you're like, oh, how did it do that? How did it make that not hurt? And my wrinkles. So that's what we're going to explain tonight. 4th reason, as I said, is athletic performance and just more energy. People generally find that they lose weight on this, and it's the same reason that they run faster. It changes your body's metabolism back to when you were younger, where you're burning fuel. Protecting your health is probably the most important one. Most people don't think about protecting their health until they've lost it, and they realize there's nothing more important than their health. Nothing. And anybody that's had any problem where they're using radiation and chemicals to try to kill stuff, you know what I mean. Then you're concerned, is it going to come back again? And it would be nice to have some guards standing on guard to make sure, or do the best that it doesn't come back again. And the sixth reason, the final reason, it's not the driver for most people, but it is for 20% of people. They're looking for this. They want this. Most 80% of the people get involved with the business side of it after they see what the product does. And they do a little research on the company, which will give you some facts. But 90% of people go through life struggling or settling, like I said, struggling or settling with too little money. As a doctor owning my own practice, I had that, but I didn't have time freedom. This is a big thing in this business. You can get, not you just earn money on the side of what you're doing, you create time freedom. And how that works is the company spends no money on advertising at all. At all. They don't make medical claims. You'll see on the website, they don't make claims. But if you're a distributor or an associate, it's $40. That's it. Maybe you're just buying the product wholesale, but they give you a free website. And you can bring people to these webinars, and we can help educate them. And they go to your website and say, hey, it's a money-back guarantee. I'm going to try it. My sugar's too high. I'm going to try this. Right? But when they go to your website, the company pays you money. If they enroll like you did, $40, they have websites just like you. You have 10 people getting product. That's way more than enough money to pay for your own product. Right? This product's not expensive. Pharmaceutical company had gotten a hold of it. If they didn't bury it and put it through drug trials, it cost $1 billion to put it through trials, and at least another $1 billion for the marketing that they do on television and everything else. They're on the whole $2 billion. They wouldn't charge $130 a month for this. They had their hooks on it. They would not. I read last year Viagra went off of trade. It became generic. Right up until it went on generic, you know what they were charging for one Viagra pill? $80, 80 US dollars. So, when a drug company has a monopoly, they know they've got it. They're not going to charge $130 a month for a product. It's a breakthrough for humanity. I mean, Viagra is great. And look, drugs can be great for the right reasons, but this is a breakthrough. This is not a drug, which you will hear. So I didn't have time freedom as a doctor, and most people don't. They work for a living, and today's Wednesday. What do most people in the United States call Wednesday? I know everybody's whispering it to themselves. Hump day. That's pretty sad. Why do they call it hump day? Because of the bottom one. They don't love what they do. If they love what they did, Wednesday wouldn't be hump day, halfway to the weekend. Most people live for the weekend. They live for summer vacation. They live for retirement and pray they have enough money and time to enjoy retirement. That's a hell of a way to go through 40 or 50 years, in my opinion. And so, look, not everybody's motivated. Some people are just like, this is my life, I'm going to settle. That's fine. But if you don't want to settle anymore, too little money, too little time freedom, too little satisfaction, too little making a difference, this business might be for you. And if not, then you'll just enjoy the health benefits and refer people. Okay? Whatever your initial reason is to be here, it's fine. Everybody comes for different reasons. I'm going to turn this over to Debbie in a second. I'm going to run through this one slide that gives you facts about this company. Some of you are here because you've already seen it work. And you're wondering, all right, tell me more. How stable is this company? So the company now is 9.5 years old. It started in 2009. It's in Pleasant Grove, Utah. The above picture is the world headquarters. The bottom picture is the FDA registered production facility. It's run by a highly experienced and conservative and ethical management team. They were profitable in the first year of business. They'd increased revenue every single year. They have zero long-term debt. All of the redox product is produced in this facility. It takes 3.5 days to turn it from its raw ingredients, which is saline, salt, and water. I'll repeat that. The raw ingredients is saline, salt, and water. 4 atoms, sodium, chloride, hydrogen, and oxygen. But it's not salt and water anymore. It takes 3.5 days to turn it from salt and water into the stable redox product. Patented. There are 18 global distribution centers that it's shipped to. There's over 30 markets and growing where it's available, the product and the opportunity. US, Canada, Mexico, over 20 countries in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, 5 countries in Asia. I'm going to Asia actually in March, and Debbie and I were both in Europe a few months ago. They've done over 600 million in sales since the launch of the company. Has grown every year. So if your brother-in-law, who is a know-it-all, we all have some of those, a cardiologist or businessman or atomic medical physicist, says, oh, it's just salt water. Does it make sense to you that a company could grow every year and now be doing, if you look at the next line, they did $125 million last year, and it's 600 million since the start. You think you could fool people selling salt water? I don't think so. That production facility is ready for the explosion. If it runs 24 hours a day, it can produce $800 million of redox a year. But if you look at the bottom left picture, the blue floor, anybody that's been through that building has seen that. It's a big empty space there. Because when Virtus Norton had it built, he had it built with enough room to put a second production line in. Take 2 weeks to put the equipment in. They can go to 1.6 billion in production. We'll be a billion within 3 to 5 years. And when we get to a billion, they're not just going to sit and say, all right, well, it's okay, we'll max out at 1.6. When they need to put one of these buildings in Asia, they'll build one. When they need to put one in Europe, they'll build one. South America. And remember, Virtus Norton that started this company was in charge of international strategy, a $36 billion company. Virtus Norton was in charge of a $36 billion company's international strategy, Kraft Foods. Asea is not there yet. Asea is 125 million. That's pretty significant considering in 2017 it was 84 million. So the opportunity is post-risk for people that are looking at the opportunity. We're entering momentum. Again, it doesn't show this, but oh, that says 2017. The first one's supposed to say 2016. Revenue was 80 million. 2017 it was 84 million. Last year it was 125. I have to correct that. It's 2016 is the first slide. So they pay us that residual income, because if you tell 10 people they're on the product, they're going to pay you for those 10 people getting their product every month. That's passive income. Those 10 people have websites just like you. Somebody could tell 100 people, some could tell 5. What if they each duplicated exactly what you did? Exactly. They each found 10 people, each 10. Now there's 100 people on the product, 110 people. Your 10 people are getting paid because the company spends no money on advertising. Right? Okay, what if those 100 people did? Oh, you get paid on that too, by the way. What if those 100 people duplicated what everybody else did? 10 people, as an example. That's 1,000 more people on this product. You get paid for that. What if those 1,000 people duplicate, each telling 10? That's 10,000 people. This is a way to impact an enormous amount of people around the world, make a huge difference with adults, children, animals, elderly, everybody. And by the way, the company pays you for doing what you would probably do anyway. It was just, would you tell them because you felt like you had to tell them about it. So they pay us to acquire customers, and along the way, we identify, train, and support entrepreneurs who want a better life. That's basically what we do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce Debbie. Debbie is a triple diamond in this company. She teaches doctors about this. She travels all over the world. She has a huge heart, and I thank God every day that she brought this to me. Those of you who found out about this through me somehow, because I told somebody who told somebody who told you, know that if Debbie did not call me that day, you wouldn't be here. You would not know what this product, the experiences you've had already, you wouldn't have them. Those of you who haven't experienced it yet, you don't know how powerful this is. Debbie will talk to you about how to get a very fast response with this if you have something that's hurting you, which is absolutely amazing. But it's humbling to think that if Debbie didn't call me, some of you may not have loved ones on this planet anymore because I told somebody who told somebody. You think beyond that, if Debbie's friend, which she'll tell you, didn't call her, there's no way Debbie would have known about it, which is no way I would have known about it. So I'm going to turn it over to Debbie. She's going to explain a little bit more about what the product is, maybe tell you what's happened with her, with Asea, and then we'll be back to answer questions together, okay? There you go, Deb.
Thanks, David. He's on a roll tonight. As David said, I was introduced to this amazing technology 8.5 years ago. And when I first saw it, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing, basically. I have a little bit of a science background, and I looked at a video when my girlfriend called me. But I'll back up just a little bit. I've always been an entrepreneur. I loved owning my own businesses and doing business. And before that, I'd been an interior designer and owned it. And we were very successful. And then I stepped down to help a gentleman with his children's website. And it was also very amazing. It was a great vision. But in 2008, the gentleman went bankrupt because of the economy. He didn't know quite how to run a business. He had amazing vision, visionary, but he didn't know how to run a company. And I was left as a single mom with my daughter, who is on the line here today, um, going through college, and I didn't want her to know anything about it. I was completely scared. And so I had no money coming in. I was going through my savings very quickly, and I ended up going through all my savings looking for a job because there were hiring freezes on in 2008. And I finally, with all my background, the only job I was able to find during that time was as a server in a restaurant. And it was fine. I would do whatever I could to keep the roof over our heads and pay for food and keep her in college. And so I was working double shifts, and it was a lot of work. I had a 20-minute break during the day, and I wouldn't get home till midnight or 1 or 2. But as much as I worked, and that was trading time for money, and it was the first time I'd ever done it, and it was not great. I lived tip to tip, and I was getting further and further behind in my mortgage. I just could not work enough hours to make enough money. And they finally sent me a letter of foreclosure. And I honestly didn't know what I would do. I only had a very elderly mother left. That was all I could turn to, and I wasn't going to turn to her either. So I went upstairs and I got on my knees. I don't know if you believe in prayer or not, but I do. So I prayed, and I put out the biggest prayer I could that night. And I just said, please send me something that I can help some people with. I've always wanted to do that, but that will turn me around financially. And I got into bed so upset. And the next morning before I got out of bed is when my girlfriend from Colorado called. And she said, Debbie, I don't know what you're doing in your life. I know we worked together, and I don't know how that's going, but she said, there's been a medical scientific breakthrough. It has saved 3 of my best friends' lives, and I've decided to do this as a business. And I think you might want to take a look at it because it's extraordinary. And I just looked up and said, thank you. I knew intuitively that this was what I was looking for. So I went downstairs and I watched a video all about redox molecules. And I'm safe to say that most people on this call have not heard of redox molecules until the person who called you about Asea told you about it. I know I hadn't, but when I saw that video, I knew that this was truly incredible if it was true. And I completely trusted my girlfriend, Cindy, so it wasn't that. I think everybody needs to validate it for themselves, and that's what I found. Everybody is a little skeptical at first, thinking, how could this do all that? And so I was lucky enough to have a very smart girlfriend. She was a molecular biologist who had graduated from Johns Hopkins. She did a ton of research at the National Institutes of Health. I called her and asked her if I could come validate this because I didn't have much time left. I had to jump on this if I was going to. And the first person I thought about was my mother. David thought about his father. My mother had a number of health challenges that were greatly affecting her life, and I didn't want her to suffer the rest of her life. And I drove to her house. I showed her the information. She literally almost fell off her chair. And she'd never talked to me about this, but she just said, Debbie, I've been studying these molecules for 17 years. We've had scientists from around the world come to NIH to try to do this. So are you telling me that somebody was finally able to stabilize these molecules outside the human body in a bioactive form? And I looked and I said, well, yes, not even thinking about it. And she said, you have no idea how massive this is. This will change the medical field as you know it. And she literally reached up. Her computer was right here. She reached on her shelf. She opened the book. It was all about redox signaling molecules. It was unbelievable to me. And she goes on to explain what they do, that they're made in every cell of your body by the mitochondria that takes the food that you eat and turns it into energy. They actually, in medical school, call them reductants and oxidants, and they've combined those terms into redox, RED for reductant, OX for oxidant. And they have 2 important functions in the body. The one function of reductants is to activate and turn on your antioxidants. So your antioxidants, think of them as a light bulb, and they don't do anything unless you add electricity. That activates them and turns them on. Well, redox molecules are the same thing to antioxidants. It's what activates them and turns them on. And so you make very powerful antioxidants in your body. The master ones are called glutathione, SOD, and catalase. And they neutralize free radicals. Glutathione does it at a rate of about 70 million per second. If you eat one blueberry, it neutralizes one free radical. So that's how much more powerful your own glutathione is. And this activates them and allows them to work. So they neutralize, they balance the immune system, and they detoxify you. The other ones, the oxidants, are what allow the cells to communicate and signal with one another. That's why they're called signaling molecules. So your cells are constantly signaling, and that's why your heart's beating and you don't have to think about it, or you're breathing and you don't have to think about it. But one of their big jobs is to go and detect damaged cells literally anywhere in your body. They bypass the healthy cells and go right to the damaged cells. So you've got two healthy cells in your body. One becomes damaged. The signaling molecule sends out a signal to the immune system. The immune system comes in and goes, oh, I can repair that. So it repairs that cell, and now you've got two healthy cells again. But sometimes, such as in cancer or a very bad injury or a very bad disease, they become too badly damaged. And the signal goes out, and the immune system comes in and says, you're too badly damaged. Kill yourself off. It's called apoptosis if you're medical. The body takes that dead cell away, and a healthy cell next to it will replenish itself with another healthy cell. If all your cells are healthy, you are healthy. And you may be thinking, well, if you make this in every cell of your body, why do you need to have more? And that's because, and I'm going to share my screen here for a second, and I'm going to show part of a PowerPoint. This is the slide that David was just showing you. That's because you have trillions of these cells in your body when you're very, very young. So from 0 to puberty, and I'll just say around 10 years old, you have trillions of these. And you have trillions of mitochondria to make them. And the mitochondria allows you to have a lot of energy. So as a 5-year-old, you ran around all day with tons of energy. You never woke up with sore muscles or an aching back, ever. You were constantly healing that quickly. And you never had any problems unless there was something wrong with the signaling system. But as you hit puberty, you start losing the mitochondria and the redox molecules at a rate of about 1% every year you're alive. And even as a teenager, if you go to work out in a gym and you push yourself too hard, you wake up with sore muscles. You are already not healing as quickly as when you were 5 years old. It's pretty sad, but it's kind of downhill from there. And by the time you get to 70, you're at 10% of what you used to make. And you can definitely tell the difference even in looking at a 70-year-old as compared to a 5-year-old. The skin is starting to sag and bag because the cells are regenerating much slowly. They usually have at least something sore or achy on them, if not a disease by that time. And a little 5-year-old skin is perfect and beautiful. And so that's what this molecular biologist told me. She's telling me all these things, and she said these are so tiny that they weren't even able to see them before the 1990. And just to show you what a big area of science this is, she taught me all this. She said she was the first one to tell me that they'll go through the blood-brain barrier like they're supposed to because we've got damaged cells up in our brain. And so she said, in her words, that this would be something extraordinary for all the mental problems that people go through and things like Alzheimer's and autism and brain injury and mental retardation and mood enhancing and focusing. And she went through everything with me. But she also showed me a lot of the journals and everything that had been published since the 1990s on redox biochemistry. We went to pubmed.gov, which she had access to, and there was only 2,000 or 3,000 studies at the time about redox molecules. Now, if you type in signaling molecules, there's over 70,000. There's fewer if you type in redox signaling molecules, and I don't know why that is. I'll have to check with the doctor. And there's been 5 Nobel Prizes awarded since the 1990s for redox research. So this isn't a company with this product. This is a huge area of science. And even Dr. James Watson of Watson and Crick, who discovered the double helix of DNA, has published an article in the Lancet Medical Journal stating that type 2 diabetes, cancer, and brain disorders are the lack of redox signaling molecules. So it's something that you should pay attention to, just even in the fact that it is a huge area of science. And as David said, it could affect someone you love someday. So that's when she told me all that, I just got the chills and I jumped right in. She ordered that night and got on the product and drove over to tell my children to get on the product. That's how important she thinks it is. She's been on it ever since. And all her blood sugar level issues have gone away and disappeared. I got it on my mom right away, and she started having results with hers. And by the third month, she was like a new person completely. Heart issues and breathing issues, and I don't know, I have to describe them all. I can't use medical terms. But all the issues she was having, not being able to walk very easily because of joint discomfort, all this kind of stuff just started disappearing and going away. And I borrowed a buddy pass from a pilot of mine and flew to the launch. And that's where I saw what David was showing, that they were already making money in the 7th month. So I knew after meeting Virtus that truly this was a huge breakthrough, that he was a very good businessman. When I found out he was vice president of strategy for Kraft Foods, I knew whose hands we were in. And when he stood there on the stage, he told the first story, and this is Virtus Norton right here with his son Tyler. They're both founders of the company, both extraordinary men. And he stood on the stage and told why this was being brought by network marketing, because that's one of the first things I'm asked. If this is such a huge area of science, why isn't it coming to us through the medical field and pharmaceutical companies? And there's a big reason for that. And I'll be brief about this, but he told the story about how he was first introduced to this. Tyler got him on the board of the company before this was Asea. They were struggling because they had created this out of salt and water, but they didn't know what they had, and it would turn back into salt water within about 5 minutes. And so he tried to help them financially, couldn't step back off the board. He got to try the molecules in the meantime. He was in his late 60s and started feeling like he was in his 30s. So he paid attention. And when they sold this asset to try to stay in the black, he went in with a group of investors and bought it. Now he's talking to his family. His family thinks he's absolutely crazy. Dad, this is salt water. What are you doing? And he's like, it's not salt water. I know what I know. I need to find an atomic medical physicist. And it just so happened that one of them lived next door to an atomic medical physicist and introduced her father. There's only 20 in the world, so that was a big coincidence. And he did a ton of research to finally discover that they had indeed created redox molecules, to his astonishment. And then he and his team of scientists were able to stabilize it within a year's time. Now, no one has been able to do that before, and no one has been able to do that after. We're the only company in the world that has this. It's heavily patented. No one's been able to copy it. What did I see? I saw just this beautiful golden opportunity to be able to help people and to turn myself around financially. Both of the things I prayed for. So Virtus picked a focus group of 40 people with major health issues. 6 of them had only been given 2 months left to live. He gave them the product, just told them to drink it. There was a perceived health benefit. He was able to see them turn around completely in 2.5 months, so much so that then they shipped it to 135 other people in 20 countries, just trying to help their friends and family. And he had what they needed. Now, Virtus is 69 at this point. Did he want to start a company? Would anyone want to start a company at 69 in 2008? No. But so he called a pharmaceutical company. He was hoping that they would get it out to the world and they'd advertise and everybody would know about it. And they flew out and they saw all the science and all the studies and everything. And they were prepared to give him a check so large that Virtus's great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren would never have to have worried about money. And he was all set to take it until they said, but if you take this check, everybody comes off the product immediately. And he literally looked at him just stunned and said, "That's kind of harsh. Some of these people are only alive because they're on this product." And they said to him, "We lose people all the time. That's the cost of doing business. If you want the check, everyone comes off of it today." And Dr. Samuelson, who stabilized him, said, "Vertus, you know, if you take that check, they will probably shelve this. It's not in their best interest." And so Vertus turned down that check. And he looked at us all from the stage that day and said, "So I need your help. If you don't share this with people, no one will ever find out about it. And there are people out there, believe me, praying for something that can help them right now." And so, without a dry eye in the room, I don't think that day, everyone stood and said, "Of course we'll help." And that's what changed my life that day. 4 years later, they were able to have another breakthrough, and they were able to create a gel out of the liquid form, out of the redox molecules. And this gel was instituted to help you look younger. Basically, it's for your face, your neck, everywhere on your body that you don't want to have as many wrinkles, because it helps your cellular outer skin heal very fast and regenerate faster and blood flow faster and everything else. And so, since pictures are worth 1,000 words, I'll just show you a few. This is the slide that we saw when we first went to convention that year, 4 years later. And we could not believe what we saw on this lady's neck. We all knew her. She lives in Sweden. Her name is Raydun, and she was using it for 28 days, and her neck went from looking like that to like that. And I just couldn't believe what I was saying, and I thought, oh my gosh, let's get our hands on this. Because, as David said, who wants to look older? This gentleman is a research veterinarian, and he, of course, wanted the same cells to put the product on. So he put it on half of his body, half of his, face, and you can definitely see the difference in the depth of his wrinkles on one side, around eyes, nose, and lips, as compared to the other side, in just 28 days. Heel cracks disappeared in a week for this man. Eye puffiness and more wrinkles disappeared for this lady in 28 days. People with horrible issues, rashes and burns and chemical burns and different things that would have left them scarred for life, turned around in just 2 months, and you can't even tell she ever had anything wrong. Skin tags, they're damaged cells. They get the communication not to replicate, so they dry up and fall off. Rashes that there is nothing in the medical field for, turned around, and this was one of my issues. Turned around completely for her in 3 weeks. It took me longer. And people just wanting to look better. This is Rosie, who didn't actually see anything different in the way she looked. She felt great on the product, but she told her son, I don't see that it's making me look any better." He almost fell off his chair also, and just said, "Mom, here." He had taken a before picture, and he showed her the after picture, and she goes, "Well, I guess I'll stay on the product." Because you're looking at yourself every day, and it turns so slowly when your cells are regenerating that you won't notice the difference. So if you're going to try this, make sure that you are taking a before shot so you can do the comparison afterwards, so you can really see the difference in the way you look. And you will have people starting to come up to you going, "What are you doing? You literally look great." But as David said, one of the ways we can show how quickly these redox molecules work is because when people were putting it on their face and necks and stuff, the stress and the discomfort around the head started disappearing. So people started rubbing it everywhere in their body that they were having discomfort. And they found that if they rubbed it on 3 times in 5 minutes, virtually almost every single time, 9 out of 10 people, sometimes 10 out of 10, will have absolutely no discomfort within a few minutes. And it's astonishing. And people just are blown away, and they go, "How did that happen so quickly?" Well, redox molecules work in nanoseconds. It doesn't take them long to help the body start healing and take away, start reducing some of the inflammation in the body, which is what causes your discomfort most of the time. Very quickly, lastly, I will just show, David already showed you the Huffington Post article, but if you want third-party validation, if you go to the redoxdoc.com, He is not associated with Asea. He's done a ton of research. He's used Asea for some of the research. He speaks at some of our conventions, but he will literally go into every single part of your body and system of your body to tell you what redox molecules does for them. So that's a great third-party validation of what redox molecules can do. If you want our studies and our videos that we've had done, go to amazingmolecules.com. It's kind of a one-stop shop. You can see the exact video that I saw, the redox breakthrough right there, and then you can look at all the white papers and the studies. Anne Louise Gettleman, who is considered the first lady of nutrition, has written over 30 books, is very revered. One of the first ladies to say you need healthy fats in your diet when everybody was saying no fats. She thinks this is the best single product she's ever seen. She's turned around and rewritten all of her books so that she includes Asea in them. And again, she speaks at our conventions. She can't believe this product, and she takes it all the time. The Hippocrates Health Institute, they have a 90-something% cure rate if you send people there for anything major by turning you around in what you eat, the way you think, and the way you exercise. Dr. Brian Clements, who runs this institute, got Asea in 2009 when they first brought it out. He did his own double-blind study. He considers it, and he's told me this personally twice now, Asea to be the single greatest product he's ever seen, and they sell it at the Hippocrates Institute. They sell it many places, but here's all the different institutions that have done studies. We are be happy to send any of them to you. Safety studies, metabolite studies, blood flow and cell regeneration, bioagiletics, which David explained, and the Dermatest, all the skincare products, all got 5 stars. Tarot Labs started Ancestry.com. They actually did a genetic study with our product on very healthy 35-year-olds. The placebo was salt water, and then the other one was Asea. Across the board, 100%, anyone given the salt water had absolutely no difference in their genetic genes. Genes are what tell cells what to do. 100% across the board, everyone who took Asea got a 20 to 31% increase in their genetic lighting up and turning them back on in 5 major areas that affect most everybody in the world: the immune system, inflammatory response, cardiovascular health, digestion, and hormone modulation. And those affect many pathways in the body. And so this is just what the hormone gene alone affects, all these different pathways. So you've got spinal cord injury and sudden infant death syndrome, insulin signaling, human thyroid stimulation, ovarian infertility, serotonin, which keeps you happy, circadian rhythm, which helps you sleep like a baby. And I could ask across the board, everybody in Asea who takes this product are happy and they sleep like babies. And the NRF2 pathway, which is oxidative stress. We're kind of rusting on the inside. We've done a whole separate study on that, on Asea with oxidative stress, to show that it greatly reduces the oxidative stress in your body. So it was at that convention 2 years ago that we rebranded our bottle. It's no longer white and blue. And we put that study on the back of our bottles, along with the bioagilitic stamp, so that people can read in real terms that people can understand what this product can do for them. And so that's, I think, basically it. We do have nutritionals that David and I don't touch on as much. We've had a ton of testimonials on them also. When these are redox based, the redox, they just enhance what the redox does. It can help you get all the nutrition because redox have no nutrition in it. But this is what just the source gives you. All these organic fruits, vegetables, leafy sea greens, grass juices, healthy oils, and 20 bioavailable food-based vitamins and minerals. The Life Mex helps your cells live the length of time in a very healthy state. And the Biome helps your digestive and gut health. David has his own testimonial about that one. But it's helped all of us. So that is what our company is. It's a complete cellular health company. The redox molecules are like the construction managers And these are the building blocks to help your cells build and be strong and healthy. And so I'm going to end this and stop sharing. And hopefully we can get to questions now at this point. And thank you for listening. So does anyone, if anyone has any questions, if you'll just unmute your microphone at the bottom left, David and I would be happy to answer them and not keep you too much longer. And yes,
I just want to mention one thing about safety, because the company makes it very easy for someone to say, I'm going to give it a try. I mentioned before, it comes with a money back guarantee, but here, safety health-wise, when I looking at this for my dad for his prostate issue, I was curious as to how it worked and why it worked, but I really only cared about two things. Could it help my father and could it hurt my father? So I focused on I didn't know if it was going to help him. I just wanted to see if it could hurt him. Here's the cool thing about this. There are three things about this that are very different than a drug. The drug, you could be allergic to it, you could get sick or die. You cannot be allergic to this. It's in you, exactly what's in you, and me and everybody else on the planet. Two, if you take too much of a drug, your liver can't metabolize it fast enough and you're going to get sick. You take 6 aspirin every hour, you're going to burn a hole in your stomach and you're going to have a problem with your kidneys or acetaminophen with your liver. If you keep taking too much of any drug, you know what happens to you? You overdose and you die. It doesn't matter if it's heroin, it doesn't matter if it's aspirin, it doesn't matter if it's Prozac, it doesn't matter if it's Viagra. I don't even want to know how you die if you take too much Viagra, but you'll die. You will die. Every single drug will kill you. Not with this. You drink too much of it, your body turns the excess back into saline, back into salt and water. So very different. And plus, the other thing is people say, well, I'm doing all these things with medications. I don't know if I can take this with it. It doesn't interfere with other things. It's in you already. So you just baseline everything in your health before you start. From your major problem, which may be horrible ringing in your ear, maybe that's the thing that's horrible, but you start drinking it, you put the gel on your skin, but baseline everything before you start. Your energy, how well do you sleep? Do you have any discomfort in your body, breathing problems, eye problems? Every little thing, you track your progress. We have a form for you to do that. You can't claim it's going to help psoriasis. It's not a drug. What we can say is 3 words. It can't hurt. If that makes sense to you, then try it. If it doesn't make sense to you, then that's okay. When you're ready, you'll come back to the person who introduced it to you to try it. But we hope that you try it now, number one, for you, for the people that you love. And if you're open to an opportunity, the sooner you know about it, the better, because we are going into momentum. So that's all I wanted to add, Debbie. I'm going to stop the recording and see if there are any questions.